We'd like to welcome everybody to the August 13th Springdale School Board meeting. We will start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, if you'd stand with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Cleveland, do we have any changes to our agenda for tonight?
No, sir.
Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Creek and a second by Mrs. Cook. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That brings us to our consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions or do we have any changes about that?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So I have a motion by Mr. Hutchinson and a second by Mr. Bell to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that brings us to presentation by Dr. Cleveland.
Thank you. First up tonight, I'd like to invite Ms. Shannon Green to the podium and her really, really smart IB graduates.
Hi, I'm Shannon Green. This is my third year as IB coordinator at Springdale High. I've been teaching IB for like 6 years, 7 years. But these are my awesome students that received the diploma after the rigorous testing in May. So I want them to introduce themselves to you because they deserve it all, because they did some work.
Wow, I love going first. Okay, my future plans are, my name is Michaela Barker. My future plans are to go in the medical field and major in nursing. Some things that I learned from the IB is that a great community is really important to excel in academics. I also learned that failure is a huge thing that helped me get better, but gain confidence, especially with my language classes. I remember going into it really insecure about speaking a different language and, you know, getting out of my comfort zone. But I learned that through failure, I ironically gained more confidence because I was more comfortable with failing. And it made me realize that I don't have to be the smartest person in the room, that I can, you know, just be myself and work harder. And yeah. I was involved in soccer for 3 years. I was the captain for that. I was also the senior vice president of the Student Ambassadors Club and a member of the Fellowship of Christian Students. So, that's me.
Great job.
My name is Stephanie Sandoval, and in the future I hope to work in data analysis, hopefully right here in Northwest Arkansas. I do want to come home. And what I learned in IB is IB taught me a lot about myself as a person, and it allowed me to further mature since, like Michaela said, there was a lot of failures. You have to grow from that. And so I felt like being mature was a big part of that, and IB helped catalyze that. And I was also constantly assured that small progress is still progress, any small accomplishment was still an accomplishment. And in high school, I was involved in the Law and Public Safety Academy. I was president for Student Ambassadors. I was the vice president for National Honor Society and art director for Student Council. And I was also involved in Unity and choir.
And going to Vanderbilt.
I'm in a Vanderbilt, yeah.
Awesome.
Lead this
Full
ride.
ride.
Full ride.
I lead this ride.
Wow.
So I'm Kylie Brock, and in the future I want to be a lawyer. I don't know what kind of law yet, but what I learned from IB is that really everyone has a different kind of process. So what works for me isn't going to work for everybody else, and that's fine. Like, we would all work on like totally different schedules to do the same assignments, and we would still all do well on them, and that's fine.
And so what I was involved in, I was in band, I was an officer in National Honor Society, and I was the vice president of class council.
And college is,
Oberlin College, it's in Ohio.
okay.
And there's a full
Yeah, that's right.
My name is Tony Calderon. I'm going to be studying social work at NWAC and then later on in the University of Arkansas. IB really taught me a lot, especially when it comes to the different path that I was able to choose. Even though I focused more on like psychological thing, I also focused on like languages and films. During school, I was involved with class council for 2 years. I did choir, key club, and then also part of Bulldog TV.
Congratulations.
Hi, my name is Mira Balganes. I'm over to meet NWAC. My future plans to be a travel nurse for a few years and then go back and get my master's and be a nurse practitioner. IB really taught me the importance of each milestone, like we've all said before. Each progress is still progress, and learning through our failures gave us confidence to go through the rigorous program. Extracurriculars I was involved in, I was a public relations officer in student council. I had a secretary position in student ambassadors. I was also in band and color guard and in National Honor Society, and I volunteered in my church a lot as well.
Great job.
My name is Sandra Gonzalez. I will be attending the University of Arkansas, and my plan is to major in HR management and possibly also finance. And eventually, I do want to stay in Arkansas and stay in Arkansas and possibly work in Arkansas. Some of the stuff I learned from IB was that I learned a lot about managing my time, especially senior year. I started working, so I had to try managing school, work, and making sure I had still time for my friends and my family. I learned to overcome challenges by learning to be confident in my abilities. I learned to appreciate the small successes, so I learned that it was okay to not receive like an A on a test as long as I tried my best, and I just learned to be really proud of my efforts and hard work. Some extracurricular activities I was involved in was cross country and track.
Great job.
And then I'm Lauren Smith. I plan to go to the University of Central Arkansas in their honors college and become an English teacher and then a future missionary. What I learned from IB is how to overcome hard tasks because there were many of them, and I learned to manage my time in school and outside of school, and I learned how to celebrate small growth with the people around me. We had a lot of parties, really helped get through the day.
School parties.
Yes. And then some extracurricular activities I was involved in was I was the president of senior class council. I was in student ambassadors, National Honor Society. I was in unity and choir. I did multiple church activities, and I was an active volunteer at the Children's Safety Center.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Great job, guys.
Good luck, everybody. It's quite an accomplishment to get that diploma. So congratulations.
We also have another celebration of Dr. Plumley. Is she here? I know she's here somewhere, but I don't see her. There she is. Couldn't see her. I'd like to welcome you to the podium. Dr. Plumley can talk to you about her award, but we're really proud of her and the work she's done at GT.
Hello, Dr. Cleveland and the board. Thank you for sharing this honor with me. I'm a little gravelly. I have trying to get over a little something, but I received the AGIA award, which is it's an administrative award for gifted and talented. I just finished up my 3rd year as a gifted and talented director for Springdale schools. It's a very interesting, and maybe even sometimes overlooked, not in Springdale, but research could say, that it can be an overlooked group of students that sometimes we feel like sometimes, our gifted kids, they're going to be okay. What I have learned and kind of come up through the back end of being a director of gifted services and spending about 15 years as special ed designee and an ESL designee is that there are actually a lot of parallels with these special populations, and that we should be paying attention and not overlooking our students that are gifted. You heard, I don't know any of their backgrounds, I don't know what their labels are, but you heard a lot of perfectionist tendencies with our IB students that just spoke. And that, among other things, we just want to always be celebrating, looking out for our gifted and high ability and our advanced learners, because they will be coming back to our community and supporting us one day. And I could not be more proud of receiving an award like this 3 years into my job, going on my fourth. And so, like I said, so proud of having an experience and being able to represent a district like Springdale as well. So, do you have any questions about the award or anything that I do on a daily basis?
Well, I think I know why you won, because you were supposed to tell us about yourself, and you talked about students. So that says a lot about you. But yeah, so what's next? Is there a next step?
There is.
Okay.
We, as far as my award, or as far as Springdale, either one. Well, I was nominated for a couple of national awards through the National Association of Gifted Children. But as far as Springdale, we're really aligning what we're doing in our gifted programs and our advanced programs with the PLC model. And I don't know, but I bet you know question 4 and how we are extending our learning. And that's been a huge piece of what we've been doing as GT facilitators, me as a GT director, and what I've even been helping with the state at bringing all of that together, because the PLC model is a model that we do support, and GT facilitators have a seat at the table to help support all learners, even the ones who might come in already knowing that standard. We have next steps for them as well and continue their learning every day. It's important, yes. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, appreciate it, thank you.
Great job.
I thought it'd be a really good idea to share about our summer school numbers and experiences we had this summer. So I invited Ms. Tischer and Ms. Fink to come up and share about high school all the way through elementary school.
Yes. Good evening. So we have a summer school report for you this evening. First of all, secondary summer school, the teaching staff got together and crafted a vision, which I think is fantastic. And their vision for summer school: we will foster a love of learning in students as they are attaining graduation credits and or learning essential skills. And so secondary summer school, as a reminder, is grades 8 through 12. So some of our 8th graders weren't necessarily there to recover credits. They were just there focusing on essential learnings from courses that they may have not achieved mastery in just yet. And so for secondary summer school this year, we continued to host a choice summer school for students in grades 8 through 12. And just as a reminder, a choice summer school could be for any student who in their academic pathway wants to take a course or multiple courses that don't necessarily fit within their school day. Most of those that we offer in the summer as choice are required for graduation. And so it allows our students to choose to take a course in the summer that is required and that they don't have to carve out a space during the school day. And so for this summer, we had 298 students who chose to do that, and they completed 409 courses, and the average grade was 87%. The most popular courses were economics, data science, which is a computer science course, and health. In terms of credit recovery, Central Junior High hosted our district-wide junior high summer school. Although Central hosted it because of construction, it was held on the HAR-BER High School campus in conjunction with high school summer school. We had 130 junior high students from our district attend. They recovered 154 credits, so those are high school credits, and then 42 semesters of essential learning from 8th grade. In terms of district high school summer school hosted by HAR-BER, we had 284 students recover 362 credits. And then DTSOI for competency-based learning had 63 students who came and mastered 147 courses that allowed for credit. So in total, we had 775 students and they received 1,072 credits. Pretty awesome. Yes. I want to give a big thank you to all of our summer school staff in secondary. We have staff from all over the district who choose to work and serve in summer school programming. And it just makes all the difference when teachers want to be there and are excited about summer programming. Just a couple of pictures. Student learning did go beyond the classroom. As always, we have a beautiful partnership with Crystal Bridges. They invited our students to visit the Exquisite Creatures exhibit, and then that was also aligned with some of their core standards, and they did academic activities also while they were there aligned with their visit. And then, of course, we made great memories all along the way. And so that is your secondary summer school, and I will turn over to Ms. Fink for elementary.
Well, good evening, board. I want to apologize in advance for my voice. My voice has been coming and going today, but I'm here to report on Kindergarten Jumpstart. Our Kindergarten Jumpstart was held July 29th through August 7th, and our little kindergarten students came from 8:30 to 11:30 every day. Our goals of Kindergarten Jumpstart were to practice Tier 1 routines and procedures, because for a lot of these kids, they've never stepped foot in an elementary school. And even if they've been in our pre-K program, kindergarten is very, very different for them. The routines and procedures are very different. And then another goal is to identify students with significant behavioral or cognitive needs and begin immediate intervention. So we have school counselors on staff, school psychology specialists on staff, special education people on staff to begin those interventions immediately as needed. So we served, 15 schools served 505 kindergarten students during this week. Some of our benefits for Kindergarten Jumpstart, I'm not going to read these to you. These are just some quotes that we received from some of our principals as they were giving us some information about the number of students that attended and participated. So I'll let you read over that for a moment.
How many days was it?
5.
5 days.
Mm-hmm. And here's just another benefit. On the first day of school, our team is busy out in buildings, seeing how we can support our schools and celebrating successful openings. And I will say, when we came back together in the afternoon and talked about what we saw in our elementary schools, we were really, really happy. We saw a lot of kindergarten students that were doing amazingly well. This was Walker Elementary on Monday morning, about 8:30 in the morning, and these kindergarten students had come down to the cafeteria to practice the routine and procedure of how they eat breakfast and lunch. Can you play that video for me?
Don't worry, we're not going to let you leave here without eating.
You can see they're all just sitting calmly. They knew exactly what they were supposed to be doing. They were listening with their ears and their eyes. And that's not always what we see at the beginning of our kindergarten year. Additionally, this year, something new to our to our Kindergarten Jumpstart program, we're offering Parent University. This is to support and build the capacity of some of our parents. And we will have our Parent University program this Thursday, August 15th from 6 to 8, and in all 3 languages, English, Spanish, and Marshallese. Our topics will include kinder basics, and so helping parents understand the importance of getting their children to school every day on time, the importance of home and school communication, and why kindergarten matters, period. How those foundational skills are built in math and in reading. Alternatives to screen time. I know we've had a lot of conversations in our district about the damage that putting devices in the hands of young children do to their little brains. And so we're offering a class to help parents know what they can do at home for an alternative to screen time. And then toilet training 101. We do have several kindergarten students that come to kindergarten not potty trained. And so we will be offering classes for our families to give them tools and resources that they need to support a toilet training plan at home. And
Where's
so
that at?
it's going to be at Jones Elementary this Thursday. So each school invited 7 families to attend. I had some that reached out and said, well, I've got 10. I said, invite them. I don't care. So we're in the process of compiling our attendance list. Our schools are actively recruiting and inviting our parents to attend this important parent university. And then additionally, our teams will make videos that we'll house in a library for principals to use at a later time if needed.
Did you have any questions for me or for Ms. Fink about
How
summer?
many years have we done the Jump Start?
This is our second year for Kindergarten Jump Start. And overwhelmingly, we get really good feedback. It's just really expensive to run because it does take a lot of people to run the program successfully. And so we have written a grant, and we should know in December if we will be funded. It'll be a grant that would sustain the program for 5 more years at the tune of about $1.3 million. So fingers crossed, prayers going up that we get the grant.
5 days, so for 25 days.
No, yeah, for 25 days. Mm-hmm. But that would also support ongoing parent university classes throughout the year to target families, not target, but to build capacity of families that need some capacity building. Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, just super quick, a rundown of our back to school events, which most of you were in and out of all of these events. We do want to give a big thank you to Mr. Emerson, who spoke at our new teacher orientation and also our district faculty meeting and every other meeting that we've had. We appreciate you being there and speaking, and our teachers enjoyed your heartfelt message, so thank you for that. We had an awesome new teacher orientation where a whole troop of our district staff spent a lot of time and effort preparing to fully support our new teachers, not only just to introduce them to Springdale and make them a part of our Springdale family, but to introduce them to things like our instructional model and where do you go for resources and how to create engaging lessons. And you probably saw some of our videos on social media. The theme of the day was Springdale Family. And we think it was a really big success. We also had our Springdale Chamber of Commerce event. A huge thank you to our chamber and all of the business partners who, if I heard correctly, contributed or donated over $250,000 worth of prizes this year. We are blessed beyond belief in Springdale to have that kind of support and such a rallying around our education community from all of our industry partners. We also had our back to school district faculty meeting where we were blessed with Mr. Rogers visiting us in multiple forms. Dr. Cleveland as one and some somewhat creepy AI and others. And we had a great meeting with a wonderful message about the power of wonder, and when you learn, or when you wonder, you learn. We got to hear what our students wonder and a whole lot of great things, and we even got to hear Dr. Cleveland sing, so that was fun. Just a reminder, this week we have Pigskin Preview at Springdale High School on our brand new field. This Thursday at 6 p.m., they'll be showcasing all of the dance and cheer and other groups there as well. And then this Friday at 6, we have the HAR-BER High School football showcase as well. And that is it for back to school events. Any questions for us? All right, thank you so much.
I know the athletics calendar, all of you received the athletics calendar from Ms. Kay, and it's just packed. So Appreciate Coach Fimple and Ms. Kate sending that athletics calendar out. You see Mr. Ellis coming forward. He's got a report tonight about professional pathways.
Good evening, board. Appreciate you being here tonight and for your time and just serving our school district. So I wanted to share some things about career and technical education with you. We've got 125 plus teachers that touch over half our student population in these programs, so they're very integral not only to what we do as a region and business and industry to expand and move forward, but I think for options for our students, for our kids. We'll highlight a few of those tonight. So some of the things that we started off with this summer were the ACES event, which we partner with the Chamber, and we work very extensively with Jay Seago and Ginger Lamar, who are workforce development, economic development, and of course Bill Rogers, to take this event. We highlighted two groups. We went towards advanced manufacturing, which you see this piece that's on the left. JMP Solutions is a robotics integrator, and a lot of automation for different companies. They've been a really good partner with us. We also targeted a medical day. So we took 2 days this year and really worked to bring in a lot of the, I'd say the administrative side of those different businesses to talk to our teachers about what skill sets are needed, what the options are as far as further training for students, if they choose to go to college, if they choose to go straight into the workforce, and how we can integrate those in our classroom. So I think it was a very good 2-day event. Got a lot of positive feedback. We had roughly 35 teachers participate in that event. We're looking at how we'll do that more effectively this up and coming year, but I think as we continue to do these, it helps our teachers understand what's going on outside in business and industry and help them relate so we can model some of that in the classroom. We also worked quite a bit on my other slide here, our CTE summer camps. So our people who are in extended contract, we did approximately 10 of these camps, had approximately 175 students attend those. So across ag, one that's not listed on here was a computer science that we had, where we actually had some of the George Junior High students work with Haas and Phillips Automation Group. So I think that was very beneficial, and we had a lot of good turnout, a lot of participation. We'll continue to expand on these. It gives our lower elementary and middle school students a really good taste for what we offer at the high school and junior high level. And we continue to grow these moving forward, help develop skill sets, but also we want to connect our elementary, middle school, junior high, high school programs together so students and parents can see what options they can have. Another piece that we worked on quite a bit this year was also offering development and support for training for our teachers. So we spent roughly 5 weeks with a lot of our pre-engineering, ag, maintenance teams and industrial maintenance to upskill and train them. BIT is a very good partner for us, business and industry training. So that typically involved a 32 to 40 hour prescription training that we would give to our instructors. And we'll continue to offer some of those this year on some PD related offerings for those teachers. And we continue to move forward with other different groups that represent the whole spectrum, from medical to the business and marketing side, to the pre-engineering side, media communications, the whole gamut. So I think that's a big plus for our teachers to show and increase their skill sets and knowledge of what's going on in the world around us. A couple other pieces that I'll get to, and this is a big one for us, and we'll highlight this tonight. As you know, I've mentioned to you, we started a CDL program, and we really got it off the ground and running this year effectively. And I'm going to let Mr. Chad Burkett come up and speak to that. And while he's coming up, we've got some of our business and industry partners here to highlight some of our students. I really appreciate what he does. We have a lot of teachers who go beyond and above. Chad's one of those people I'll call and say, hey Chad, got an idea, let's do this. There's a need, there's a niche market, and he just takes that and runs with it. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Chad.
Thank you, Board. I appreciate the opportunity. Once again, kind of like everybody else, we're all fighting the crud, so excuse my voice. I want to invite our business partners down, and these young men, I want to celebrate them tonight. This is not about me. This is about what I see as a perfect opportunity for kids to succeed. I can't thank APAC Central. APAC owns a variety of companies. Their parent company is CRH, one of the largest construction companies in the world. They have stepped up and changed the way that we do partnerships. Just a real brief overview. We approached APAC. We developed a process where our training is replication of their training, and they accept our training as their training. So when they come out of our program, and I want to present an award to a very special man tonight, Mr. Russell Kirkpatrick, he recognizes our program as the same as his program. So APAC, SMG, Arcola, they will hire our kids. It's the exact same training as they received at the company. That's groundbreaking in my opinion. Take a few moments. I want to recognize everybody here. We have Brian with SMG. We have Gary Jaworski. These gentlemen, they're just a text, a phone call away. A lot of times when we're training these kids, we'll get them close and I'll call them, I'll say, we got one ready. And I'll say, let's get them in the pipeline. It's a seamless transition. And so really it's a partnership. If they're willing to do the work, they get the license, they're automatically hired. That's a beautiful relationship. We also have Mr. Troy. He works at Arcola. We have a couple students here tonight that are working for Arcola. And then I talk to Yolanda weekly. She's become a really good friend of mine, much like Mr. Russ. There's nothing I can't ask that she doesn't find. She goes out of her way to find opportunities for kids. It has nothing to do with construction. If I need a kid that wants a job in nursing, she's like, let me find somebody in nursing. So I want to really recognize her tonight. But more importantly, Mr. Russ spent over 120 hours with me last spring. On the coldest days, we worked weekends, nights. I could never beat him there. I got there one morning at 3:30 a.m. and we would go in before school. He was always sitting there waiting on me. He dedicated his time. And so I want to recognize Mr. Russ because he has a long history. He's a veteran. He's been a public administrator. He's served a lot of hats in different communities across the United States, and he believes in children, and he believed in me, and he gave us this opportunity. So I want to provide a certificate of appreciation to Mr. Kirkpatrick and give him a moment to talk. I want to recognize these kids. You'll speak for just a minute, Russ, and I want to recognize these kids and give them an opportunity to talk.
Well, thank you. I'm Russ Kirkpatrick. I'm the Chief CDL instructor for APAC. I come from college. I'm Bellevue University is my alma mater, Nebraska. Go Huskers. Got to get that in there. I know it, go Big Suey. But I started the school here in Northwest Arkansas for APAC and partnering with Springdale High School and having Chad come into our school. And it was a little challenge, not so much challenge on him, but me. But we were happy to do it. And I was just told this morning that the residual value of getting your students to come to us, it's a fantastic partnership. So on behalf of APAC, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to recognize, how many of y'all have seen the HAR-BER Mac band truck driving around this summer?
All summer.
Listen, forgive us if we stall. Forgive us if we slow down traffic. I've rode in the passenger seat. I'm going to tell you, I've ate a lot of BC powders and Rolaids and Alka-Seltzers because it's been a stretch for me to participate in this. But I can't brag enough on these guys. I've got a team of guys here, and the cool thing about this is these aren't Springdale High School kids. These are Springdale kids. We offer this to everybody. These kids are from HAR-BER. These kids are from Springdale High. We got kids from DTSOI. We got kids from Archer. We're providing opportunities. We're breaking barriers, okay? We can play football on Friday night, but when it comes to our kids, we're going to treat them all equal, provide opportunity. I have Jaime. Jaime hasn't graduated yet. We trained last night. We drove the dump truck around. He is really close to testing. We're going to try to place him with SMG. I want him to come tonight. He has his own business, and so he actually started first, but he worked so many hours with his father. They have their own landscaping business, and he's wanting to expand his career. And so I'm really proud of Jaime. I'll give these guys both a second. I want you to visit with them. We have Melvin Vicin. Melvin's from HAR-BER High School. We worked early on. Melvin works at SMG. Great guy. We have Angel Lemus. We have Lemus. Elliot, there's Angel. I'm sorry. I have twins here, okay? This is Angel. Angel graduated first. Angel works for Arcola. He's also a ready-mix driver. Spent a lot of time in the truck with these guys. Then we have Elias Lemus. He graduated. He's in the process of going to work for Arcola also. So you think we're going to have trouble. We're going to be twin brothers working at the same time. And also here, he's from Springdale High School. He recently graduated. We actually graduated the Thursday before we came back to teacher meetings. And so countless hours. We've driven a little over 10,000 miles this summer. All these guys have logged well over, somewhere between 200 and 300 hours. And I'll tell you, Russ's method for CDL, we're taking these kids over there, and I'll tell you, state CDL examiners say, if kids come from Springdale High School or Springdale Public Schools, kids come from APAC Central, he knows they're going to pass because of Russ's method. APAC Central's provided some hats for them. I just want to brag on these guys. I want you guys just come up and introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about it, just a few moments. Listen, most of these guys have ate at my table. We've come through the middle of the day, we've shared meals, lots of late nights. I love these guys. I feel like they're family.
So my name is Angel Lemus, and it was like early in the morning or sometime in the morning, if we had to cut into like some other time, we would go show up, work, practice like early in the morning to late in the afternoon, and we still had to go to work. At least some of us that did have work, we would still go to work after. So it was a lot of work, but at the end of it, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the time we practiced. I got to see a lot of new things, at least me personally. I didn't really go out of like Springdale in general, but by practicing CDL, I was able to see a lot more of Arkansas than I have ever had before. And overall, I really did enjoy it, and I'm glad I was able to participate in it.
Tell them what, we've seen something cool. I've never seen this before, but he and I just want to share this. We've seen something, and we're the only two that's seen it. But tell them what we've seen in Kingston, Arkansas one day across the road.
It was a cinnamon-faced bear.
Cinnamon-faced black bear across the road. We nearly hit it. So it was a really cool experience. So.
That's
Come on up here,
awesome.
Austin.
My name is Ociel Ortiz. Just graduated, and I really got no hope from people that I know, but the only teacher that gave me hope is Mr. Burkett. And I got no love, but this shows you that I got hope in life. And to be honest, I kept the promise to this teacher. And I was about to give up one time. So one of my coworkers said, "Why are you gonna give up? You kept that promise, didn't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did. I gotta stay true I gotta be a man, I can't be a little boy." Yep. Just gotta grow up to be a man. I already have a baby boy, and this is all for him and Burkett and my manager. I can't disappoint him.
This is Elias.
Hi, I'm Elias Lemus. I'm his twin brother, and I've enjoyed the time I spent with Mr. Burkett driving around. He's really helped us out a lot, and I really appreciate him for just taking us out and teaching us. Obviously, especially me and him, we have never driven manual or just any big vehicle, so it was nerve-wracking, and he helped us get used to it and just teaching us bit by bit, even though it was kind of stressful for him. He still helped us out a lot, and I am grateful for him for helping us get the licenses.
I'm Melvin Bison, and the time that I spent with Mr. Riquette was the best time that I spent with him. We learned a lot, we traveled a lot, and I learned the most important lesson that anybody can tell you, which is to tell the truth no matter what, even if it's a big lie or a big mistake, is to always keep honest with the person, keep honest with anybody, and that'll take you a long ways in life.
Well done, man.
close, but I just want him to say a few words.
My name is Jaime Alaniz, and I just want to thank Mr. Burkett for helping me this summer, helping me trying to get my CDL. He says I'm really close, and I can feel it too. Yeah, it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of hours I've gone into it, a bunch of afternoons, but I think we're getting there, and I just want to thank Mr. Burkett.
I appreciate you. It's not about me, they thank me, but, obviously you build a bond when you spend 100 hours in a truck with somebody. But seriously, it's not about me. It's about the partnership. It's about the promise. These kids are making a very, very good living. In some cases, and it's kind of hard to say, but they're making as much or more than beginning teachers with college degrees. They're making a very good living for their family. And APAC offers opportunities for them to go to college, change careers, okay? Provides opportunities for their families that other companies don't. I'd like to offer opportunity, anybody else would like to come forward and visit, but I really love these folks. They've been really good to our school district.
Just want to thank Mr. Burkett. He's done more than you realize. He doesn't want to take the credit, but it's because of him that these guys are here, Melvin, he had something to say about being honest. And we went through this with him, and he stepped up to the plate and became a man. So I really appreciate what Melvin has done with that, and I appreciate what Mr. Burkett has done too. So I just want to thank you guys, and you've got an awesome teacher here. He spends a lot of time as his own doing this without, getting paid or whatever. So you got a great guy here. I really appreciate him.
I appreciate you, board. If anybody else have anything to say?
I did have something. So first off, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here and discuss the topic that holds immense potential for the future of our communities, right? And the partnerships between the schools and the workforce. We all know how important those are. And in an era with rapid technological change and evolving job markets, the connection between education and employment has never been more critical. Schools are not just places for learning, they are foundations for our future. These places build careers, right? And we're seeing that now with high schools and trying to bridge that gap between high school and workforce development. And so by partnering with the workforce, we bridge that gap in education and real world skills, ensuring that the students are not only knowledgeable, but they are prepared for the demands of the future, which is tomorrow's economy, right? And so these partnerships are very essential. And as you can see, we have a future here. We have a really good group of people that will be forming our company, and they will be making the brand, SMG brand, the Arcola brand. These guys are going to carry that forward to the other individuals that come forth, right? As we have these generations that are fixing to retire, we have a new generation that is coming in, taking these new skills, and they're going to be able to transfer that skill onto those other students that will follow. So we really appreciate the partnerships that we have, and we value them, and we can't thank Mr. Burkett enough. I mean, he's really bringing forth skills and education and creating a value to the workforce. So thank you very much for everything that you do. I know you're very humble about it, but you definitely have changed lives. You have no idea how much you have. So I just want to applaud you for that.
Let's give these guys a round of applause. I'm really proud of them. Also, something we didn't mention, APAC has hired 6 other students at the signing day. We have, all sorts of opportunities out there. They're employing numerous kids, providing a very good wage. We can't thank them enough. And board, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, board. Do you have any questions or comments? I know that was, I just admire what they do. And I'm glad we're able to highlight.
Is that fully funded? I don't know, a CDL program, do you normally have to pay?
Good question. We were able to take some workforce development funding that funneled through OSD to help us with that, to offset some costs. And we're working with them and some partnerships to fund it in the future, because we can't drive around the band truck, obviously, for the rest of our career. So we're looking to increase that by at least 2 trucks potentially. And we're looking to hire another instructor, because both Chad and I spent a lot of time in the truck, and I don't have enough BC powder myself. So we're looking for those funding sources, and I believe we'll be able to make those available through some of the Department of Commerce.
But the students don't have to pay.
No, they're not paying anything for it, yeah. Yes, so far it's free. That's about a $3,500 value if they were to go out and do that on their own.
That's what I was asking,
Yeah.
is like that would be cost.
Sorry, yeah, I
prohibitive
missed,
the most.
and yeah, that's typically for us, that's the hurdle. Another hurdle that we found was most of those schools are, it's like a dedicated 6-week block where you would have to take off class to do that, and we're just trying to work it around their schedule, around their school schedule, and make it work.
So the CDL that they get, what does that allow them to drive? I mean, is it the dump trucks, cement trucks, what, I mean?
They can actually, in the state, they can get a Class A now at 18 and actually drive tractor trailer. So they just can't drive across state lines. So they can drive any kind of truck in the state of Arkansas.
So nationally, you have to be 21?
21, but there's some upcoming apprenticeships that are being forged in the trucking industry because there's such a driver shortage that's making some opportunities in that. Even as an 18-year-old, they're going to stick you with an older driver, and you know, just like electrical or plumbing, you would be with a mentor and you would be out on the road.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
There is no drivers.
No, I mean, it's like all these other pieces that we talk about, you know, the IT sector, the medical sector, there's just a lot of, you know, banking, finance, whatever the option, there's a lot of options out there. So, thank you for your time, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's pretty good.
Same robot.
I'll go pretty quickly on the personnel new hire report. As you know, LEARN's also put back in front of you every month through the personnel, so we're submitting that. But the interesting part, we are down teachers. That's not sounds bad. It's not a bad thing, but we readjusted from our ESSER dollars, and so now we are about, I believe it's 41 full-time equivalent staff members down from where we were last year. 30 plus or so were ESSER. The other is where we tightened our belt. We're known for being lean. We want to be better. We do a whole lot less. So I think that's your expectation, and we're trying to meet that, and also improve quality. So classified, we were underemployed last year. Mr. White constantly was trying to find custodians, drivers, all those things. So we're in pretty decent shape right now. We're just above 6 where we were last year, but we're down 3 drivers. I spoke to Rotary last week and said, I think we're pretty good with drivers, and somebody said, you better knock on wood. Well, that's the right thing, because I came back to work and we had 3 resignations. So we've got to do a little better, and I'm not going to say that anymore.
Can those kids practice driving buses?
Bring them back in here. Strangely enough, years ago, my dad would drive the school bus home from his basketball games because the coach did something else. I don't think that was legal, but yeah, I fully expect they can do that at some point. I know my oldest son drove, when he was at the University of Arkansas student, he drove for us for 2 years. And so we're encouraging U of A kids who would like to be in education, maybe even coaches, to get their CDL. We work with them and we hire them. So it's for sure possible. So that's the report. I'd like to invite Mr. Donnell and maybe even Ms. Clay at some point up here. We're going to talk a little bit about the update on the cell phone grant that we applied for, that you graciously allowed us to do so. He's got some pretty good information for us.
Okay. Good afternoon, Board. Dr. Cleveland. At last month's board meeting, we reviewed the DESI cell phone pilot grant program and Yonder pouches. And afterwards, the board approved moving forward with completing the grant application with the understanding that we could opt out at any point. As you recall, this grant will provide financial assistance to school districts participating in the Phone-Free Schools pilot program. This funding is intended to support the purchase of pouches or other locking mechanisms to store student cell phones securely during school hours. By accepting this grant, administrators, teachers, and staff agree to ensure students will place their phones in pouches or lockers at the start of each of the school day and keep them secure when in the classroom. Cell phones will only be accessible for emergencies and during approved non-academic times. This initiative seeks to foster a phone-free environment, enabling an evaluation of its impact on student learning, engagement, and the overall student health, or health of students. Over the last month, our middle schools, junior highs, and high schools have developed grade band consistent procedures that parallel the phone-free school expectations. And you can see those on the screen if we'll go to the next slide. In August, Dr. Cleveland was notified that our district was approved for $420,000 to purchase pouches or other locking mechanisms to store student cell phones during school hours. Recently, you've probably seen in the news other schools who have implemented phone-free school procedures. And just for reference, the procedures that our middle schools, junior highs, and high schools have implemented mirror these procedures, these same procedures. So tonight, we really, we don't need the board to take any action. We just wanted to give you an update where we are. We also may want to look at scheduling a lunch and learn toward the end of this 9 weeks to kind of evaluate where we are with these current procedures and how those are working, and if there's even a need to move forward with purchasing pouches at $420,000 worth of pouches. On the next slide, you can also see kind of a breakdown of what that money would be used for. There's about 6,634 kids at the secondary level, middle school and up. And if that's about 12,554 students at $30 a pouch, that'd be $373,000. And then they allowed for you to have about 10% overage, and that would make up for the other, make up to the $420,000. That's about 1,500 extra pouches. So, do you have any questions?
So we were awarded.
We were awarded. Right now, we have not moved forward with that because our middle schools, junior highs, and high schools have come up with procedures in place right now that accomplish that same thing without actually locking up a phone all day long. But it might be a good idea for us to revisit that at the end of the 9 weeks and see where we're at. And I asked today if there was a time limit on, like, do we have to spend it right now or we lose it? And right now, there's no time limit on that. So.
We're appreciative of the governor for reading the book and understanding that. I would like to also point out we have 2 fantastic cheerleaders in the room for us in Little Rock, Representative Rob Lundstrom, Representative Steve Unger. They're very interested in this as well. The expectation is some kind of legislation may come forward, not sure, but they wanted to come here tonight. I'm not going to speak for them, but to learn and be a listener and also be an advocate in Little Rock. Is that correct? Okay. And thank you for being in attendance of everything. You two are absolutely wonderful. We appreciate you tremendously. So, anyway.
Any questions?
So we're just kind of not really.
Right now, we're just kind of in a holding pattern right now.
Well, even if you did want to do the pouches, it would take
3 to 6 months. Yeah. For those to even come in. If you ordered them today, most vendors are telling me 3 to 6 months.
So we thought we'd gather the data, whatever that may be, share it with you so you can make an educated decision.
Sure.
And we'll do whatever you want to do.
I mean, I think a couple things that stand out. One is that you said is consistent procedures.
Correct.
Across the whole district. And even, I mean, I even know that just from one classroom to another classroom, it could be night and day as far as what a teacher allows and doesn't allow with a phone. So I think that's really important. And then I think a 9-week lunch and learn with, in my opinion, I would love to have the junior high and high school administrators with us.
That'd be a great idea.
So we could Q&A for however long, and I think that would be beneficial.
Yes, sir. We can absolutely do that.
Are there restrictions on brand or anything once we do purchase something, if we do purchase?
I talked to Jody Wiggins about that today just to make sure that, you know, when we first applied for this grant, it was those Yonder pouches. You were supposed to tell, if you weren't going to use the Yonder pouches, you were supposed to have like a bid process for that. Like, hey, we would like to not use Yonder, but we'd like to use this, and it's $20 pouch, whatever it is. Okay. But right now, he said that there's a lot of flexibility with that. Okay. So
just have to get it approved.
Correct. Yep.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Have we, and I was kind of looking at the principals as well, have we, since announcing the change in policy, or in procedures, not policy, have you had a lot of pushback, or has it been Okay.
I had, after the first board meeting, I had probably, I don't know, there were several calls. But once they understood what the process was, what the research is behind it, I imagine they'll say the same thing. There was, oh, okay, now I understand. So, is that what you found?
I think just educating them
Mhm.
why.
Right.
I'll be curious to see if, right now it seems like there's a decent amount of flexibility with in and out, passing period and lunch and kind of in and out in between classes versus once you get there, don't get it out till you go home and
for medical.
something in between.
Right.
So I'll be curious in 9 weeks to see how the in and out between every class period
Right.
is working.
I noticed that the language has changed and it's kind of evolved just over the last few times that I've gotten, that I've read it, and that one piece in there that you just mentioned, that last piece said cell phones will only be accessible for medical emergencies or during approved non-academic times. That wasn't in the first part that I read along, it's probably been a month or so ago. So, you are correct about that,
So
yes.
those approved non-academic times will be the same across all of our
Yeah,
schools?
all of the high schools are all aligned with those approved times, all the junior highs are all aligned, and the middle school is aligned as well.
One aspect of that would be like if the kids go to a football game, or the cheerleaders going to a football game, they can have their phones on a trip.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Something like that, even though that's a school-sponsored event. Or the kids are running cross-country and they have a device to do whatever it is.
I mean, our ultimate objective is the academic day.
Correct.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And there's a lot of out time that's activities, but that's not the academic day.
Correct. And just in case, if you don't mind backing up one slide, just to kind of give you a quick synopsis of middle school, every school allows you to bring a phone. Middle school, junior high, and high school. Middle school, you bring your phone, and you're able to use that right before school starts, and then you put that in your locker turned off so it's not going off in the locker and causing a disruption and all that, and at the end of the day, you're able to get that phone. The junior highs, if you can read up there, cell phones, same exact thing. Then cell phones cannot be out during instructional time. They may be out during before school and at lunch and after school. And then the high school then expands that just a little bit more with in between passing periods at lunch, before school, and after school. Okay. So, and all of them are aligned, grade band consistent like that.
To speak to the feedback a little bit, I was in Hobby Lobby one night earlier this week, and the lady that was cutting fabric found out the lady that was buying fabric was a teacher. And the employee just started harassing this poor teacher about the cell phone policy, and she's a parent, and she pays for that cell phone, and nobody has the right to tell her when her kid can have it or not, because she pays for it. And I took a really long time picking out my ribbon so that I could listen to the rest of the conversation.
Hey, I want to
The teacher kind of convinced her that it was not a bad thing, like, we're not taking it away, you know, you're
Right.
gonna get it back if but it was kind of funny.
I do want to brag on the administrators for all getting together and coming to consensus on those three policies. That's really awesome that we have staff on our team that can do that. There's a push and pull all the time, and they were able to come together and come up with I think it's very clear and it's very reasonable. I had a wise man once tell me, if you do everything that's reasonable, no one can ever argue with you. And it's so true. I think it's very reasonable.
That's why nobody ever argues with us.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay. Thank you for considering that. We look forward to learning more about our efforts with cell phones, at least screen time reduction. I know you know, and everyone does, Donald Tucker, but I'd like to invite Mr. Tucker to the podium to give you an update on what the foundation's been doing. If you haven't been by the baseball and softball fields and football fields, then you probably haven't seen what he and Coach Fimple and others are doing, but I'd like to give him an opportunity to visit with you.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Dr. Cleveland. The Springdale Athletic Foundation is by bylaw instructed or directed to support Springdale athletics. And the board for the Springdale Athletic Foundation directs me to raise money and to help supplement athletics based on Coach Fimple's request. And I want to talk to you a little bit more about the raising money part of it, because that's kind of seems to be, money in education, you guys deal with it every day. We raise money 4 different ways. We raise money with pledges and donations from families, businesses. We raise money 3 other ways, one of which is the live stream we do for athletics. So for football, basketball, volleyball, some of the sports that want to be live streamed, we do that. We use CTE kids to do that. So it's student-led. We employ roughly 20 kids from the district in different disciplines, whether it's graphics, whether it's video editing, production. Our live stream last year, we won an Emmy for it. So we're getting great kids to help us raise money, but we're also paying them to do that. So they make good money, they make really good money, but they also get further education, further training to get them to the next level, and we're winning national awards for it. So we're really proud about that relationship. So we do the live stream, we sell advertising on the live stream with businesses in our community. We also, this year, started digital game programs to where it's a virtual game program. I would buy a game program when I walked in the gate. I'd have it for that game and I'd leave it at home. And I totally would forget. So now we have a digital, it's on your phone. You won't forget it. You can flip through it, you can look at it. We sell advertising in that. The kids sell advertising in that, so the different school or the different teams within our district can raise money as well. And another way we do it is we sell advertising on the video boards. And so if you haven't seen the video boards, you're missing out, because these things are absolutely incredible. So Coach Fimple and I have been working with Dr. Cleveland for the better part of 6 months now, starting the process, going through the process. Now we're finishing the process of being installed. We've got just a few tweaks to make, but we sell advertising on the video boards as well. And so the video boards, which we handle through the foundation, the net effect of that is that there's no expense to the school district or the taxpayer. So when it's all said and done, it washes out. All of that we'll handle through the foundation, and it'll be, we'll generate money from it from selling advertising. So all that money filters back to the kids in our district. So that's kind of our directive. That's my directive. We've been working hand in hand, like I said, with Dr. Cleveland and obviously Coach Fimple and his office, utilizing the kids in our district to make it better for the rest of the kids in our district. But if you haven't, I encourage you to please go enjoy the video boards. They're absolutely incredible. Springdale High School and Har-BER High School stadiums have very large video boards, but they also have very nice sound systems now. So you're gonna have a great visual and audio experience there throughout the other 8 locations within the district. Any questions, anything I can answer for you guys?
How much money are you trying to raise?
I'm trying to raise $60 million, but in the short time, right now, we're trying to raise $4 million. So we're doing that, and we'll get there. The community in Springdale is really good about stepping up and helping when they believe in our cause. And so it's my job to go out there and have those relationships, build those relationships that are already established long ago, but need to be rekindled and redeveloped.
The video boards are really, really good. Yeah, they're amazing. My grandson played Kiwanis football, and I was really taken back. Because I thought the one at Har-BER was good before that.
Right.
It's really good.
It is. We interviewed 11 different companies and talked to, over and over again, and we looked through the process and the understanding of what product they brought to it. What we did is we identified a company and the owner in that company that is high integrity, high character, and we knew that once we purchased it, that at the end of the day, he's going to be there to support it. Because it doesn't matter if we pay for really nice equipment if on Friday night it doesn't turn on or it doesn't work right. Like that's not a good policy. Well, this guy's gone above and beyond to make sure we're taken care of. We took delivery today of a brand new video trailer. So for the sports that we don't have video boards at, we have them in both baseball fields at both campuses, both softball fields, both football fields, and then at both basketball arenas. So that covers a lot of sports, but there's a lot of sports that don't have video boards. Golf, swimming, cross country and track, those kind of deals. Well, now we have a video board that we can take to those locations, and we can show, they have, leaderboards, they have the video on there, maybe replay, live stream, just like we did at Kids Day football. All of those things we can help other kids get exposure and promote them, like we're trying to do with every one of our other aspects, live stream, digital game programs, and the video boards. So
Tell them what the women's soccer team did this weekend.
Yes, that's a great point. So the coach for Harbor Soccer used the video boards to live stream or to show the Olympic gold medal match in the stadium. So we stopped by there, we looked, we watched it from you can see this, our video screen at Harbor High School from Rogers, Arkansas. It's huge. But the sound system, they brought their chairs out, they sat and watched the game. Great team building deal. We want to do more of that, right? Maybe not just athletic stuff, but we want to, maybe it's a movie night, maybe it's the Olympics, or maybe it's just some kind of interesting thing that everybody's interested in. It brings them in. We're also talking about doing video game contests like Madden and baseball in the specific venues to reach the kids that are in elementary, middle school, and junior high to get them excited about being in the program or being a part of this amazing technology that we're using. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a very good point.
I think we're hosting 3, if not 4, state tournaments this year. So in all different venues, track and some other things. So I think Coach Fipple's going to go to AAA and bid on some others like basketball. We're good about that in the state tournament. So we should have a lot of people from a lot of different places on our campuses this year. And as you know, our performing arts centers and our athletic competition fields or gyms, it's our front porch. And so they're going to be able to come in, know who we are, what we expect. We'll treat them really well, and I think they'll leave having had a good experience in Springdale, no matter what venue.
Curb appeal.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah. And our kids deserve to really, to me, my best high school experiences were the things I remember most in athletics because I didn't do that much after in college. So it's the highlight of their life, and this gives that opportunity to have that real memorable chance. And it's good for parents.
I think it's good for the community also, to springboard on what you said. If they have something to be proud of, they're going to stay here. So we have 4,000 plus athletes in our district. We want them to stay here and go to school here and build families here. I think athletic facilities, increasing those, making them better, just like everything else in our life. Your health, your vehicle, your relationships, whatever, you got to work on them and make them better. Well, athletic facilities is a perfect example of that. If we make them better, then people are going to want to be a part of that and stay here. Other people that come and visit, they see that, they want to be a part of that also. Because now we're leading the charge. We're the tip of the spear now. So we're going to do that, and I think people are going to have more pride and more excitement about Springdale, and then people that aren't part of Springdale are going to want to be a part of Springdale. Good?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, sir.
Highlight of the day.
Good evening, Board. Dr. Cleveland. I have a few things on my section of the board report tonight. The first thing is our July 2024 financials. You should have had a copy of those in your board packet. And I just wanted to point out a few things with this particular financial. First of all, on the revenue report, the budgeted revenue and the budgeted expenditures that are on page 2 and page 3, that budget is actually the school year 24 budget because we have not brought forth school year 25, and that'll come next month for your approval at that time. So next month, you'll see that column change. For the month of July, I wanted to point out that our collections from current property taxes was about $1 million more this July than it was last July. A lot of that has to do with the increase in assessment. So we're glad to have that. The land redemption was about $140,000 more than what we had this time last year. We really don't have any control over that. That's, as people pay, sell off properties that have not had taxes paid and that sort of thing. So we just kind of budget an estimate of what we think we will get, which has historically been about $200,000. So I'm happy to say that we're almost already there the first month of the year. State foundation funding, that is about $300,000 less, which is to be expected because our state foundation money is based on how much local money is generated from our tax dollars. And so with the increase in assessment, we have more money being generated from our local tax dollars. So the offset to that is we have a lower state foundation amount that's being received. So all of this is anticipated. And so we will see about a $4 million decline in our state foundation funding, but we know that that money is going to be made up from our local money from taxes. So I just wanted to point that out to you for this month.
Ms. Hopkins, can you remind the board about the rollback, that this year is the standard setting year?
Yes, we did have a 0.7% rollback. That really just affected our debt service funding, our debt service meals. So we are guaranteed we're guaranteed 25 meals by the state, or 98% of that 25 meals. So it's kind of a weird calculation. But even with the decline in the 0.7, we still anticipate that our local tax dollars are going to generate more than what we received last year. Does that answer your question?
10%, right. Max everything 10%.
Right, it's correct, yes. The state law requires that the most that we can increase our assessment is 10%. And when they did the reevaluation, it actually ended up being about 13%. And so they rolled us back to that 10 increase, so. Okay. On page 2, on the expenditure side of the report, I did want to mention that our maintenance and operations expense for the month of July was about $1 million less than it was this same time last year. We may see a little bit of that, maybe a timing difference on receiving invoices that we might see in August payments, but also Mr. White has really worked really hard to kind of limit our spending and monitor that. So I just wanted to point out that that is a decline from last year's.
Good job, Jeremy.
Oh, boy, Jeremy.
Wait till he tells you. Wait till you get his report. Listen.
Yeah,
I'm waiting to
Next month.
congratulate.
she's gonna hold
He
off
won't
on
be here
that.
next month.
He spends more money than anybody.
Okay, so are there any other questions on the financial statements?
I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the July 2024 financial summary as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Ombie and a second by Mr. Ramos to approve the July 2024 financial summary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. The next thing this kind of falls under July 2024 financials that I wanted to mention that I brought to Dr. Cleveland's attention today as we just became aware of this, and in the interest of transparency. So we issued a check back in June to a company out in Georgia, and that check we discovered was actually intercepted through the Postal Service and went through a process they call check washing. So basically, someone took that check, they removed the vendor that we had issued the check to, put in their own name or a fictitious company name, and took it to a bank in Georgia and cashed it. So our bank has made us whole in that they've reimbursed us that amount. However, I did speak with Springdale Police Department today because we are required to file a police report on that. And then I will also have to file a notification with Division of Legislative Audit. And it will most likely be a audit finding, even though it was no fault of our own, it still is required to be an audit finding. Probably will not see that until our audit report for next year, but I wanted to make the board aware of that. I have a meeting in the morning with the bank. We're just going to discuss kind of what the bank's process is for them collecting those funds. And then my conversation with the Springdale Police Department is it would be a second-degree forgery. And so she has indicated to me that once we are able to determine the city that the check was actually cashed in, I will need to make contact with the police department in that city and file a report there as well. I did reach out to, I have two colleagues that are CFOs at school districts in Georgia, and one of them is not, he's right outside of the Atlanta area. So just to give you a little bit of background, it was actually mailed to a post office box address in Atlanta, Georgia. Apparently, Atlanta has moved the processing of all their postage to a new facility in Palmetto, Georgia, and there's been some inherent problems with that facility. My friend that is in Coweta School District said that they've had hundreds of checks that have come up missing that have been mailed through this postal facility. So I think it was just a luck of the draw that it went to that facility, and there's inherent problems there. But we are on top of it. I'm following the protocol as to notifying you as the board, and also will be notifying legislative audit.
It wasn't a little check, it was $53,000. How much?
It was actually, yes, $53,989.
Okay, but because it was mail, why is it not a federal offense?
I think that it will end up being a report that will be filed with the U.S. Postal Inspector. Just haven't gotten that far in the process. I know that that Mr. Latimer in Georgia has already been interviewed by the U.S. Postal Inspector because they've had so many from their district, because a lot of their checks go through that facility.
I'm just surprised like the FBI hasn't called in if it's that much money.
And it could be, since we're removed, I don't know exactly what all's going on in Georgia. I do know that the Georgia State Legislature has made inquiries, and so I think we're just kind of a small piece of that, but I just wanted y'all to know where we were on that and what we're doing to.
Does our bank offer payee positive pay?
They do offer positive pay, and we've talked about that. I know from talking to my colleagues across the state and also in I guess across the region, positive pay has been kind of a sore subject with a lot of them, because it kind of requires somebody to be on top of that, checking it every single day and making sure everything matches. For us, if we were a smaller district that was only issuing 2 rounds of accounts payable a month, it would be pretty easy for us to pull and look at those reports. But, you know, we're doing that daily, and as those checks come in, we're going to be matching them up. So we're just trying to work through the pitfalls of trying to make sure that process flows smoothly, because we don't want to be in a situation where our vendor presents a check for payment and it's returned because we didn't review that positive pay file in a timely manner.
Like that hurts, we upload our file every time we have a check run, it goes to the bank, and so we only get the exceptions.
Right.
And it alerts, like it sends me an email that there's an exception, and it may happen, once every couple of weeks. And
my understanding,
there's some tools to make it quicker.
Okay.
Where you can upload and it won't be such a hassle, but you do have exceptions like you
right.
mentioned.
I think the upload side of it would be pretty simple, because we already do that for this particular vendor. We're going to reach out to them and go ahead and have them set up where it's a direct deposit for them. But I know that I've heard from some of my other colleagues around the state that if for some reason they get that email on a weekend, or it comes at a busy time and they miss it for some reason, then that check's rejected back to the presenter, and it's caused some problems. And so we don't want to put Springdale in that situation. So we're just trying to work through that. So I'm sure that that's probably going to be part of the resolution of this in the future. We just haven't gotten to that yet.
Would you have time to teach us a little bit about what you've learned, you and Mr. Ramos?
Sure. I'm a huge fan of payee positive pay, because
Okay.
it doesn't just check your check number and amount, it actually checks the payee of the check, and if it doesn't match, it'll flag it. We have an issue where we have like vendors that have an alternate payee, and sometimes it'll catch that, but we have until 7 p.m. every day to catch it. So
Okay.
On banking days, only on banking days.
You
so-
have the petty, like 2,000 to 3,000, those people are usually found fairly quick, but when you're talking about $50-something thousand, the odds of them tracking that down and actually getting to the bottom of it, it's pretty extensive when it comes to that large amount of money. And these folks know exactly what they're doing, so they've hit it tenfold by the time anybody even gets to it.
Right.
So somebody's gonna eat it, and if
I agree. I was able to track it down. It's actually a legitimate company. I don't think the person that actually cashed the check has any association with it. And the address actually comes back to a residential address. So
It's all bogus.
it's all bogus. I would be doubtful if the person that signed it is even who they say they are. So, but I would like to visit with you about the positive pay and kind of how that's worked for you. I'd appreciate that. So there's no action on that from the board. I just wanted to make sure that y'all were aware of it. Okay, the next item is substitute pay. And so we pay our subs, obviously, a daily rate, and the other neighboring districts have increased their rates. So we would like to propose that we match those, which would be 105 per day for Class 1, 120 per day for a full day if you're a Class 2, and 135 for Class 3. That matches our neighboring districts.
How much of an increase is that?
It's a $14 increase per day for Class 1, 22 for Class 2, and 28 for Class 3.
Anybody have any questions? Comments?
I know. We're matching on everything except Class 1. Well, let me back up. For Class 1, there is one district that's paying 112. The other districts close to us are paying 105. And then we are all in agreement on Class 2 and Class 3.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Are we still seeing a shortage in substitute teachers, or is it too early to tell? Yeah, too early to tell.
We sometimes do, but it's gotten much better. Do you all have any additional information about that? Yeah, today we only had 65 people out. Usually it's 120 to 180.
How many substitute days do we typically use in a year? Does anybody know?
Well, so we kind of worked on on average, we have 1725 certified staff. And on average, they use about 10 days. Some use more, some use less, so we just calculated based on everyone using their 10 days.
So we match on the two, the mid and the high, but
I'm sorry?
we don't match on the load except for,
We're matching two of the larger districts on the low, and we are all in agreement on Class 2 and Class 3.
District to our south is the 112.
who's 112?
To the south.
Fayetteville. Let's go to 107. 100 subs a week costs you $200, right?
Mm-hmm.
The overall estimation is 400,000 a year. Increase.
About $460,000 a year is our expected fiscal impact by making this increase.
We have,
Do the best one, pay the best.
Pardon me?
Why don't we go up to 107? That'd be
we don't have to meet that charge.
Why not?
Why 107?
That's just an arbitrary, just say, hey, for $2, you do 100 a week, costs you $200.
Say we're still gonna
Because
be,
he's trying to make it go from
still won't be
lowest
the
to
high, it
highest,
still won't be the highest.
south to north. We want to just make it a step.
I'm good.
You sure?
You stir the pot.
Okay. We don't have time for that.
We don't have the budget yet, but will it fit in the budget, the 465?
Yes, we've looked at that, and I think it will fit.
I make a
I
motion
wouldn't
that
stir
we,
the pot.
I make a motion that we ignore Kevin and raise the substitute pay to the amounts.
I'll second that.
Wow. Of course you did. So I have a
Pot stirrers down there, I'll second it.
I have a motion by Mrs. Creek and a second by Mr. Ownby to approve the increase in substitute pay.
That's great.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
At the last board meeting, I think was when we had approved that Dr. Cleveland could offer this property up for sale. I think that's correct?
Yes.
And so we do have an offer, and Dr. Cleveland, I'm going to defer to you. I don't know how to pronounce the name of this company.
Well, what I'd like to do is provide Mr. Gibson an opportunity to step forward, maybe go through some of these offers. Is that okay with you, Ms. Hopkins?
Absolutely.
It's Mr. James Gibson, and he's marketed our property on Don Tyson for us at a negotiated rate of 2%. And what he's done is any other companies who are interested in marketing it as well, they would just have to understand that it's only 2% being sold. So if tonight the board approves me to execute the paperwork, it'd save us roughly $80,000 to $100,000 somewhere in there. So we
We
appreciate
need it, we're spending 465 over there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to represent the school district. I'm super excited about it. Very grateful, take it very seriously to represent you guys just like I would an individual client, try to get the best offer for you guys. I think we've done really well. We've got 6 offers, and there's a couple that stand out very clearly. I think the one that, in my opinion, is the best one stands out. I think after I go through this with you, you'll see that. So basically, I'm just going to hit the very basic high points of each offer. I'll tell you who the offer's from. And Dr. Cleveland and I discussed, like, this is just for transparency. Everyone who submitted an offer would love to be considered. And we just want everyone to know that everything. So I'll give you the very basics of each offer. Some of them are quite a bit off of our list price, and so I don't see the point in us going through every detail of it. I'm going to tell you who made the offer, the price of it. I've gone through each one of them, details. None of them really have anything crazy in them. There's one that's from a nonprofit that I'll give you a little more detail on, just because they asked for something a little different. So I'll start off. And I'm going in order from lowest price to highest price of offers. So the very first one, this is the one from the nonprofit. It's the lowest offer. Ozark Juniors Volleyball Club. They offered $1.5 million. We are listed for $2,100,750. So this one is $1.5 million. They basically asked for it says the buyer agrees to provide the seller a in-kind donation receipt in the amount of $600,750 to make up the difference from the $1.5 million to the $2.1750. So they're offering $1.5 million. So that's the lowest. The next one is from DRP Holdings, LLC. They offered $1,750,000 for the property. Third one is from Screen Door Adventures, LLC. They offered $2.1 million even. Next one's from Bentley Holdings, LLC. They offered the exact list price of the property, $2,100,750. Some of these, this one reminds me, some of these asked for like a agency commission for the buyer side. This was one of those, I believe. I don't see the point going through all that with you guys because we already know from the price that it's not the highest offer. So if you guys have questions on any of these specifically, we can definitely talk about that. The next one is from Britnum Construction, and it is $2,225,750. This, in my opinion, is in the running. It's close. I'll go through this whole offer with you actually, just so, because it's close, I want you to understand the details of it. If any of these others you want me to go through with you, I'm happy to do it. But you know, the next highest offer is 2.1, and this one is $125,000 more. So I'm going to go through these last two with you. So Britnum Construction offered $2,225,750. They offered a deposit of $25,000 if you guys accept this offer. So trying to show seriousness of their offer. They do have a due diligence period of 60 days, I believe is what they asked. Let me get to that. They're good with the existing survey. November 12th closing date. Okay, buyer requests 60-day due diligence with one 30-day due diligence extension if needed. Should the extension be needed after the initial 60-day period, buyer will pay an additional $25,000 deposit to extend. Buyer will close within 30 days upon completion of due diligence. And that's the basics
So
of
the
that.
earliest you close on that was November 12th.
Yes, I believe so. So that's second best offer in my opinion. This last one is a standout for lots of reasons. They offered, it's Jacobs Crossing LLC. They offered $2,250,000 cash sale. They're the highest in dollar amount, but they also stand out in the fact that they are wanting to close within 7 days. Cash deal, no contingencies. Very clearly a standout basically in every way. Yeah. Yeah, they did, and I'm gonna go through it real quick just to make sure there's nothing I'm forgetting to tell you.
Is there a bucket of gold on the property?
I think this buyer just wanted it really badly. Closing date, yes, August 21st, so that's a week from tomorrow. So we're gonna have to, if you accept this offer, we're gonna have to get on it just to get everything done in time to do that. They did ask for, to close at a title company of their choice. We don't know what that is yet. I asked them what it was, and they said, we're not sure. We'll get back to you on that if the offer gets accepted. But we discussed their ideas on title company. It was all local companies that I know well and would do great. So I have no fear in that. This offer expires August 15th at 5 p.m. That is what I have.
Board, if you do accept one of these offers, would you mind to authorize me to execute the paperwork so we can be in the process? Okay.
Any questions?
On that last offer, are we required to close in 7 days, or are they just offering to close? Can we get that done that fast?
If we accept this offer, it's a contract, and we've agreed to close in that amount of time.
Anything that'll keep us from being able to close in 7 days?
I don't know about on the school's end, anything. I mean, I assume that if you guys approve it, Dr. Cleveland's good to go to the closing and sign documents to sell the property. So based on just title company, me, my company, processing everything, I don't see an issue with it. We should be able to do it. The worst case scenario really is as long as buyer and seller agree, we extend the closing date a couple days. We need a couple more days to get everything done. But I've closed real estate deals in 24 hours before. They weren't $2 million deals, but have done that. Something that could come up that could hold us up if there was a title issue or something like that as title company works through. But don't foresee that happening. I'm sure you guys did title work when you bought the property. Don't think there'll be an issue there.
No deposit on that one, though?
No deposit on that one because they're closing so quickly and no contingency. I've talked directly with this buyer and I feel like it's solid. It's legitimate people. So.
Any questions, like is there any strategic thing we need to think about, like who we sell to as a school district?
Well, I think our taxpayers really like the idea of being transparent, which we have done, and taking the opportunity for a higher offer, the highest offer. And I do believe this company is local people that are purchasing.
Oh,
Jacobs
this offer?
Crossing?
Yes. Yes, Springdale people.
So it seems reasonable. I'm not sure their intent, but I do know that one of the buyers lives close. So it could be advantageous for everyone to sell the property.
So what all do you need from us? A motion to accept that offer, and then a motion, and to allow you to.
And you can even do it within that motion to have me execute the paperwork for expedience.
Yeah, and as a real estate broker, I think I would just say The other offers, just a worst-case scenario, you just never know what happens in life. This buyer could pass away before they closed, like just that kind of thinking. Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm just giving you worst-case scenario so you understand why I'm saying this. The next best offer we could possibly accept as a backup offer with their permission. We can explore those things. I would say, since this is such a close closing date and everything, I would probably reject the other ones with the idea that, hey, if anything crazy happened with this first one, we'd come back to the next best. Yeah, that's what I would advise.
Okay.
I will make before you do, is there anything that you see as far as what could stop this from happening, or because it's contract, so once we sign, it's.
I don't see anything that would happen.
Can't find a rock under there that just, oh, never mind, change my mind.
No. No, this.
Fully binding contract.
Or something.
It's an extremely clean contract, I'll put it that way. There's always gonna be probably an attorney that could argue something in the contract if there wasn't something met, but they didn't put any contingencies for due diligence. The closing date is very quick. There's no contingency for financing, which you see on, I think, every one of the rest of them were financed. And so, in a financing situation, that's an easy out at some, in some contracts. If they can't get approved, or if they don't like something, we can't get our financing. So it's cash, no contingencies, as clean as it gets, basically. So.
In worst case scenario, we can put it back out again.
Worst case scenario, we got 5 other offers that we know we can sell the property, and we just go again. But this is definitely the cleanest.
Are we good now? Yep. Okay. I'll make a motion to accept the highest offer, the 2.25 million.
That's correct.
2.25 million for the property, and also to allow Dr. Jerry Cleveland to be the, what's it called?
Execute the closing documents.
To be able to execute the contract. Does that sound like everything?
Closing documents.
The closing
The
documents.
contract and the closing documents would be, yes.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Randy Hutchinson to accept the offer from Jacobs Crossing LLC for $2.25 million, and to authorize Jared Cleveland to execute the contract and closing documents. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
There you go.
Okay, thank you very much.
I have to resign from president now.
Next term as president ever. Back in your chair. I need to go ahead.
Okay, Board, I have one more item to bring to you. Is a related party transaction with Mr. Randy Hutchinson. Of course, he has excused himself from the meeting while we discuss. So we had a contract with, or a related party disclosure form on file with approval for the board previously for 5H Photography for their photography services. And on that particular one, we have not reached the $10,000 threshold that would require us to send it to the commissioner for approval. However, they have expanded their services that are available, and one of the things that we were in need of was some custom printed signage. And so I think Mr. Donnell spoke with Mr. Hutchinson, and 5H is able to offer that to us for about 50% of what some of the other vendors that we had tried to work with could make that available to us. And so we have a revised, or a new contract disclosure form that Mr. Hutchinson has signed to increase the dollar amount to up to $25,000. And also, it would change the dates of coverage. We would close out that old disclosure form, and this would be from August 13th, 2024 to August 12th of 2025. It would require approval from you as a board, and if y'all approve it, then we would submit it to the Department of Ed Commissioner for approval. Are there any questions?
Make a motion to approve the related party transactions with 5H photography.
So I have a motion by Mr. Ramos and a second by Mrs. Creek to approve the related party transaction with 5H Photography. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
So the next item that I wanted to present to you tonight is, this is just some general information. I don't know, I have never discussed this with you as a board, but just kind of the process that the business office goes through in a year. So there are 9 cycles where we report information to the Department of Ed. Most of those cycles have to do with student information data. However, Cycle 1, Cycle 8, and Cycle 9 have a lot of input from the business office. So right now, I just completed Cycle 8, which had a due date of July 31st. And so we're closing out school year 24. So we just completed Cycle 8 for school year 24. Cycle 9 for school year 24 will actually open up here in the next day or two. And so that is where we're doing all of our closing entries to close out the previous school year. Cycle 1 will open up the middle of September, and that's where we'll put the budget in. It's due by September 30th. So at the next board meeting, which I believe is September 10th, is when I'll present to you the budget. And if it meets your approval, then we will upload that to the Department of Ed in Cycle 1. So that's just kind of to explain. I know that in our weekly notes, you'll see we did Cycle 1, we did Cycle 8. So I just kind of wanted to explain that process. One thing that's interesting about how we do the accounting, we actually have 13 periods instead of 12, which is what you're accustomed to seeing. And so our year end is June 30th, and then they open up July 1st through August 31st. They have what they call cycle or period 13, which is a time period where we can't run payroll, but we can make journal entries so that we are adjusting our books and not really changing the overall budget. Let's say we have a $500,000 budget for something. We're not changing that $500,000, but we may be adjusting within that budget. Maybe we didn't need to spend as much on salaries and benefits, and so we spent more on supplies or other instructional materials. So we're aligning that budget to how it was actually spent. And the reason we have to do that is part of our requirements, especially on federal funds, is if we have a 10% variance in a function, which could be function codes or, elementary, middle school, high school, if we have a 10% variance in those, then that would create an audit finding. So during period 13, I'm going to advance this slide just a little bit. Through our fiscal year end process, I'm kind of looking at the budget in reverse, in that I'm looking at, I'm comparing it to what we started with. Sorry about that, that's my mother, and I have her on bypass in case of emergency, so my apologies. I only have 2 people like that, my mom and my dad. So anyway, so I kind of look at where we ended for the year, and then we make adjustments. And so I'm going through each individual fund on the back side and making sure that we're in compliance. Sometimes we will budget things we have a 12-digit or 16-digit budget string that we have to use. And so periodically throughout the year, because the Department of Ed is reporting to someone else above them, they may change how we have to code things. So we have to go back and change our coding to be in conformity with what the Department of Ed wants. So this is what we do from July 1st till August 31st, as we're going through that process, closing everything out. Some information, for example, child nutrition gives us our commodity totals as to what the dollar value is of the commodities that our school had benefit of through the school year: vegetables, cheese, milk, all those different things. So the state will close out their books, and then they'll tell us, okay, the value of the commodities we gave to you this year were X number of dollars. And so like, we haven't even received that information yet, but that's part of our closing process, that I'll have to book that revenue and expense. So, so cycle 15, or cycle 9 will open up the 15th, and we will finish out the fiscal year and submit it to the Department of Ed on the 31st. So I just wanted y'all to be aware of how that process works, and that we're kind of looking at everything in reverse, making sure that we're in compliance, that all of our funding, all of our expenditures match where they need to be, and we're not over in any one category, and just kind of dotting the i's and crossing the t's as we close things out. So that's our fiscal year in process. It's kind of interesting. I had not seen it really in black and white and really thought about it, but I think my busiest time starts from June 1st and really picks up speed in July as I'm trying to finish out cycle 8 and then cycle 9 and cycle 1. So it's all kind of condensed there in about 3 months. That's the most important time of year for our office. So that kind of, in a short explanation of our fiscal year-end process. Does anybody have any questions on that before I move to, I think I've completely blown Mr. Owenby's mind.
I feel your pain.
Is it fun?
Being a nerd like I am, it's a little, I have to admit, yeah.
Come into work.
So, yeah, I take everyone, you know, we manage about 200 funds that are Fund 1 through Fund 6, which includes our local, state and local funds, and also our state categoricals and federal funds and building funds. But then we have close to 1,000 activity funds that we also monitor. And so the point with that is we're trying to make sure that at the end of the year, none of those end with a negative balance. So,
do you have a finalized report you could generate for us to look at?
I can.
All this work?
I sure can.
I'd like to see that.
Okay, be happy to. We'll have that ready for at the next board meeting.
We'll also have the budget report.
I know, then we
Yeah.
can compare 'em.
Yeah.
So then as I'm simultaneously doing the closing, I'm also doing the budgeting process for the next fiscal year. And one of of course, that'll be presented to you at the next board meeting for your approval. One of the things that we have purchased this year is AlloView, and we've talked about that, and we'll have some more information available. But what that's allowed me to do is I have 2 screens, and so I'm working on this screen and I'm closing out this fiscal year. And as I'm looking at the things and talking to our different principals or our different directors that are over certain areas of the changes that they need coming forth for the new fiscal year, I'm simultaneously putting that into AlloView and documenting why I need to change that or what adjustments need to be made. So I'm really happy to have that available to me, because before, you're basically keeping it on a bunch of little scraps of paper so that you can remember when cycle 1 opens up, because you can't work in cycle 9 and cycle 1 at the same time. So you're kind of having to put it in a file and hold on to it. So this is allowing me to work on both of them at the same time, which I feel like is going to be a lot more efficient. So that's the process that we'll be losing sleep over between now and September 10th. So any questions on that? And I also wanted to mention one of the things, I did talk to Dr. Smith and Dr. Cleveland about this, is one of the things that we're looking at, used to, when I first started out in this type of work, if we got, I don't know, $10 million to do a certain thing, like for alternative learning, for instance, then if we knew that it was going to cost more than that, we would have to budget that in another fund. We'd have to figure out how to pay for it out of ESA or local or what have you. But what I found over the years, as I'm working through and getting more knowledgeable with what the state legislators expect, you know, BLR is pulling this information for them, and what we have started doing is, if ALE is going to cost us more than what our allocation is from the state, we're going to budget that to ALE. Now, we can transfer money from other funds to cover that deficit, but it's very important that BLR be able to pull the information that shows what is the true cost of managing these different programs that we have. And so that's a lot of what period 13 allows us to do, is to look back and evaluate, you know, did we spend money out of another fund that really should have been spent out of ALE, but we were afraid to budget it to that because it was going to put us over. So that's an important part of this cycle as we go through, is making sure that not only is the information accurate and correct and it keeps us in line with the requirements for federal programs and not exceeding those variances, but also are we providing good information not only for our people here at our district to budget for future years, but also to be able to give that information to legislators and be able to articulate that with them. So. Thank you.
Next to the podium is $1 million man.
All right, board, Dr. Cleveland. I've got a construction update and a short transportation update. So we got moved into Southwest on Monday, and I mean, everything's been going pretty smooth. I had to send some extra people over to help transportation.
You're
get dropped
giggling,
off.
so what was it?
No, it was good. It went really good. So, yeah, if you guys haven't been there, you need to. Some of the signage in the front area. This is the front entry going into the media center. This is the Cougar Cafe, so they'll let groups come in there and collaborate and stuff. And this is in the east wing, east side of the media center. That's the media center. That librarian has worked a lot this summer getting set up, but it looks really good. That's just a basic classroom in that building, so it has multiple height desks. Everybody seems to love the building. There's a lot of natural light that gets pretty much anywhere in the building. The kitchen, we got it started. Everything's been going good over there. The gym, and so this is not the main entrance, but to the west of that, there's a cafeteria gym entrance, so you can come in and go to the main gym, the auxiliary gym, or into the cafeteria. So we've got that done. Just gonna do the final touches. They're doing a punch list on several of the rooms, but just a very minor list of punch items. You guys have any questions on Southwest?
Hey, the Cougar, the hairy Cougar, we put that.
So the Cougar, when you come into this entrance right here, it'll be on the left. When you come in, there's about a 12-foot wall right there on your left. Actually, I met with my cabinet guys today. They're gonna start building the base to him. He's in my office. So once they get the base built, we're gonna have an acrylic top made that'll go over him, and we're gonna backlight him and stuff, but he'll go in this entrance right here. So that's in the works. We just started it today. Springdale High School, and this picture is before last week, so it's actually striped and completed. They started putting up the new fencing for the buses, so now the buses will be able to back in during a game, shut the gates, and all be behind a locked fence. Tennis courts, they actually have one coat of the coating has been put down, and then it started raining, so we're just waiting on weather, and they'll get those finished up. And so once they get the new courts finished, then the coach will move to the new courts, and we'll move to the old courts and match the paint on those, so they'll all look the same. So if weather holds out, about another week and a half, we'll be completed at Springdale High. All those projects will be done. George Elementary, we got kids in there. It it's been going smooth. We actually took people over there to help with traffic, for the parents and the buses. But this is the entrance to the gym and the cafeteria. So the coach is happy over there. He's got a huge gym. So we're moving more equipment in there. We're trying not to overwhelm him with all the bikes and everything here first week. So as he gets time, we'll take more stuff over there for him. The kitchen, we got it opened up. We had a couple issues on Sunday. We got them worked out, and everything has went good in the kitchen. This is the library. So this was the old cafeteria that we turned into the library. And this is actually the old library. We turned it into 2 classrooms and a multi-purpose room in between them. So that's a look of those classrooms. Central Junior High, this is actually looking, so you got the cafeteria is there or the kitchen is on the left and cafeteria is kind of on the right. They started putting up exterior walls. They've got roof decking on. This is inside, actually standing in the kitchen, looking at the cafeteria. And then this is inside. There's going to be some locker rooms. There's going to be band rooms, choir rooms, and then a little bit on a construction lab. So they've started a lot of work over there. It's all going really well. Do you guys have any questions on any of the construction?
Is that where we had the leak?
Yeah, so I think it was yesterday. We had a leak. I got a call about 6 o'clock in the morning. We had a leak in the new hall. It'd be the west hall that runs north and south. And it was an issue where this opening, where this new building attaches to the existing. But I talked to Mario today with Baldwin and Shell, and they've got that taken care of. And within 30 minutes, they had a company out there, a professional company, to take that water up. So we didn't have any damages in that building. Baldwin and Shell got on it as soon as they found out there was an issue. The district roof repairs we've been working on for about not quite 2 years. Everything is completed other than Archer Learning Center, and they still have a little bit of roof work to do there, and then gutters and downspouts, and then a few of the other buildings, they do have a little bit of repairing landscaping and yards where they've had the heavy equipment. So they've got a company going back to those, fixing all that, filling that in. But probably about 3 more weeks, we'll be totally done with all the roofing and that'll be completed.
You won't have anything to do.
I know.
I'm sure we'll find
Wait till you go over your plan, your 10-year plan.
Yeah. But we are working on a lot of other stuff too. So on construction, I talked to Kevin. He couldn't be here tonight, so over the summer we had a lot of summer schools. So we had 29 different summer school routes, and we had volunteers that volunteered to drive those routes. They started on June 5th and ran through August. We also inspect all of our buses. The state comes up and inspects our buses, and we make all those repairs to get them back in service by the time school starts. Kevin's been putting a lot of time, and Paul Miller's been helping on a touchdown camera system, which pretty much means we won't have to go pull a hard drive out to take video off of a bus. It'll automatically load as they come into the office. It's about 90% complete. We're still working. There's a few buses that they don't come back to the shop unless they need fuel or maintenance. So they'll get parked at a building. We're still working on those, getting that solution to get those to talk back to our office. Tracy spent most of the summer entering all the routes into Transact, which is a new system we're using. Those have to be put in individually per student. So every student's transportation plan has to be just manually put into the system, and then it'll track it from there. We also added a new fleet management program. So the drivers, when they come in, they have to do a pre-trip on their bus. so they can do it on their existing tablet that they have on the bus. And if the bus has an issue, as soon as they do the pre-trip, it'll automatically generate a work order and send it to our mechanics. So they'll know, needs an oil change, brakes, whatever the problem is. So that was this summer, and then the start of the school year, we've got 78 regular routes and 20 sped routes. And then they have about 34 different daily shuttles that'll go from school to school. So on those 78 routes, those will run multiple runs. So each bus will run 2 to 3 runs per AM route, and then same on the PM routes. Same way on sped. Most sped buses will run 3. They'll have 3 pickups and then 3 deliveries per AM and then per PM. As far as drivers go, we've lost some and we've gained some, so we're sitting at the same number of drivers that we had last school year. And so the routes as of right now are the exact same as they were last year. So we're in the same exact route with the same amount of drivers, and you know, as we can gain some extra drivers, then we're going to look at adding some more pickups in the rural areas.
I don't remember what the system thing was called, but a year or so ago, we implemented a system where we could track every kid, and the parent could get on and find out where their kid was.
Yep.
Is that up and running? Everything's going good with that?
That is up and running. So last year we had, it's like a trial run. We had software running, so it's tracking routes. We had a set number of drivers that were scanning kids, trying to get all the bugs worked out of the system. So this year, all the drivers are using that equipment. And so we are having to make a few adjustments just because the number of drivers and stuff, that system, it's had a slowdown. So, you know, it's just overloaded with information. So they are using that equipment and scanning the kids. Worked with Damon this summer on getting tags and a way to have all the elementary with tags on the kids. So that's something we'll keep working on. Okay. All right.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, I freaked out there for just a second because my notes disappeared. Good evening, school board and Dr. Cleveland. My name is Valerie Hanna. I am the SEA president, and I am a teacher here in Springdale for my 14th year. Well, not in Springdale, but 14th year of teaching. First thing, I want to give a shout out to the Springdale Chamber of Commerce because this year we had decided that having a table at the chamber event was not within our budgeting. And they came through and they actually donated a table to SEA just so that we could be there and still participate. So that was very, very kind of them to do. We also had some donations in order to restart our teacher back to school scholarship awards, I guess we could call them. We decided to do 5 $50 gift cards for new members and 5 $50 gift cards for current members, and we're going to be giving those out at our next board meeting. We've also been having some amazing conversations with new and potential members about the positive working relationship that we've developed with the school board and with the admin in the last year. A lot of people were impressed that we get this privilege of standing in front of you every month and that we've had, been able to have positive conversations. And some of the comments that I sent out a message and just said, anything that you guys want me to tell the board. And one was a thank you for making daily plan time happen for all of our teachers this year. Love the new high school phone policy. Has been well received and we are excited about it. Another one was having a cell phone policy is a game changer, exclamation point. this is not necessarily an SEA thing, but just a celebration, was that Marshall Leaves was added to the Google Translate about a week ago, so that's an awesome thing. And then, you know, I know it's only the second day of school, but I really haven't heard any negative comments from our members, and just, you know, the teachers that I work with also, that we've been having. I know, my knuckles are bruised. I have been knocking on everything wood for 2 days, but it just seems like a new year, like a really good start. You know, there's always going to be those things, but it really has seemed a positive start. Callie and I are also looking forward to representing Springdale down at AEA. We were both selected to be on one of the executive committees in September, so we'll get to go down there and give our opinions about the way things should be and whatnot. And the final thing, AEA is bringing back our local member benefits. This is something that they used to do in the past. These are partnerships with local businesses that already give educator discounts or coupons, or someone that would like to partner with AEA in order to just make the lives of educators and those that work for public schools a little easier. And basically what happens is it just becomes a list of kind of pro-education people that you might want to look in your community, like these are places you should go because you might get a discount, or there might be a coupon, or just in general, they love teachers and they, or I shouldn't say teachers, just teachers, but all educators. So, you know, if there are any businesses that anyone here knows of that might want to be part of that, you can let us know. But just in general, we're really excited to get that back, because that's also something that would be specific to no matter where you are in Arkansas. So there would be a list for, let's say you go to Little Rock for a Razorback game and you want to eat at a certain local eatery because they're, you know, pro public education, or just in general, good peeps. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right, we will now adjourn to executive session to discuss the comprehensive school safety assessment. know if you're prepared.
She just stepped out, right around the corner of your drink.
She wouldn't expect us to be back so soon.
No one would.
It's very atypical of us.
Yay.
Damon, you got high marks on your report. Great job.
Yeah, good job. That was very good.
Not myself for 10 days. No, I'm lonely. I want John to come home.
Okay, so we have no patron comments, correct?
Correct. Fired. Okay, wow.
Have the miscellaneous items,
Committee reports?
and adjournment. Meeting adjourned.
Now somebody has to wait and sign stuff.
I'm out.
You have to wait?
For what?
We have to sign
$1 million man.
Okay, we're all. He spends the most money of anybody in the district.
I don't.